Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's story. In this episode, Quang returns home with a shocking announcement that changes everything. After quitting his job to build a farm near Linda, he faces an unexpected push from his mother, who openly declares her hopes for their future together. What begins as a simple visit turns into a moment of raw emotion, awkward silences, and unspoken feelings that can no longer hide. This chapter shows how sometimes love needs a gentle, or not so gentle, nudge from family, and how one conversation can transform two lives forever. Stay until the end to witness this beautiful turning point. And don't forget to subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Your support means everything to us. The bamboo gate swings open with that familiar creak, and there's Linda, practically flying out the door, her hair a beautiful mess, hands still covered in flour from whatever she's been baking. "Auntie, you're here." The way her face lights up, it's like watching the sun finally break through after a gloomy afternoon. You know that feeling when someone you care about shows up unexpectedly and it just makes your whole day? Yeah, that's the energy right now. Quang's mother carefully sets down this massive fruit basket on the wooden porch, and immediately, the most incredible smell fills the entire space. It's fresh palm fruit sticky rice, still steaming. And honestly, if you could bottle that scent and sell it, you'd be a millionaire. "This is actually my first time making this," the mother admits. And there's this sweet shyness in her voice. "I'm really worried it might not turn out well." But Linda's already in motion, spreading out a comfortable mat, gesturing for her to sit down. Her eyes are absolutely sparkling with excitement. Picture this: two women sitting across from each other, and between them is this bowl of steaming sticky rice that's practically begging to be tasted. Linda does something really beautiful here. She offers the very first bite to the older woman. It's such a respectful gesture, and you can see she's genuinely nervous about what the verdict will be. The moment of truth arrives. Linda takes a bite, and her whole face transforms. "Auntie, this is amazing. It's so chewy and fragrant." And here's where it gets emotional, folks. The mother's smile starts trembling. You can actually see tears threatening to spill over from this one small moment of happiness. It's incredible how something as simple as sharing food can create such a powerful connection between people. She's looking at Linda now, really seeing her, taking in the simple but immaculately clean house, noticing the thriving vegetable garden outside, and something shifts in her heart. You can feel it happening. "You have such skillful hands," she says softly. And then comes the big one. "If Quang had a wife like you, I would have absolutely no worries left in this world." Boom, just like that. Linda's face turns the deepest shade of crimson you've ever seen. She immediately drops her gaze to the bowl, suddenly very interested in cooling down her portion of rice. It's such an authentic moment of shyness, you know? Meanwhile, there's this red-whiskered bulbul singing its heart out on the tiled roof, and the palm leaf fan is making these soft whispers in the background. The whole scene feels almost dreamlike. The mother reaches out and gently touches Linda's hand. "Living all alone out here, doesn't it get lonely?" Linda shakes her head no. But here's the thing. Her eyes betray her. They drift toward that red dirt road, searching for someone who still hasn't appeared. You don't need words to understand what's happening here. These two women are eating together in this beautiful, quiet understanding. And with every sticky, fragrant bite, they're sharing the same unspoken longing. It's one of those moments that just hits differently. The conversation flows naturally as they eat. They talk about the grandmother back home, 90 years old and bedridden, bless her heart. They discuss the vegetable garden and how the worms have been absolutely destroying everything. And then the elephant in the room. Quang hasn't called in weeks. The mother lets out this deep sigh that carries years of worry. He's too gentle, she explains. Always thinking about everyone else first. I'm just afraid he's going to end up getting hurt because of it. Linda carefully places another piece of sticky rice into the mother's bowl. Her voice is soft, almost a whisper. Quang's going to be just fine, Auntie. I truly believe he's much stronger than people realize. But watch her eyes when she says this. There's sadness flickering there, like a candle in the wind. She wants to believe her own words, but doubt creeps in anyway. The mother's attention shifts to the garden, and she's genuinely impressed. You're incredibly diligent. Your garden looks even better than mine. Linda smiles that shy smile again, but she's honest about the struggles. She points to the eggplant row that looks like it's been through a war. The worms ate through everything before I could even get the spray out, she admits with a little laugh. Here's where things get really touching. The mother doesn't just sympathize, she acts. She stands up, walks right into that garden, and bends down to start picking off caterpillars one by one, collecting them in this old milk can. Vegetables we grow for ourselves shouldn't be sprayed with chemicals, she says matter-of-factly. Hand-picking is the cleanest method, even if it takes longer. Linda watches the older woman's back as she works under the fading afternoon sun, and something catches in her throat. This is the kind of genuine care that money can't buy. The mother turns around, wiping sweat from her forehead, and delivers this simple sentence with the warmest smile. When Quang comes home, he'll have fresh, clean vegetables to eat. It seems like such an ordinary thing to say, right? But the way it drifts through the air, like a gentle breeze, it means everything. Linda's face turns red again, and she doesn't even realize she's nervously tearing a leaf between her fingers. The sunset is doing its thing now, stretching these long golden rays across the entire garden, bathing both women in this gorgeous warm light. But it's also casting longer shadows, and somehow those shadows seem to represent all the worries that haven't been spoken out loud yet. Then, slap, slap, slap. Rubber slippers hitting brick. Everyone's head turns. Quang appears in the doorway, and he looks absolutely exhausted. His shirt is faded and covered in road dust. There are dark circles under his eyes, but somehow he's still managing to smile. And then he drops the bombshell. I quit my job, Mom. Just 6 words, but they might as well be a thunderclap. Time literally freezes. His mother jumps up so fast she almost sends that fruit basket flying. Quang steps inside, and his voice gets even softer, more deliberate. I'm coming back here. I want to build a farm, live close to Linda. Before the joy can fully register on his mother's face, her eyes suddenly blaze with this incredible light. She grabs her son's hand, then wheels around to face Linda, and her voice is actually trembling with pure happiness. I'm finally going to get to hold my grandchild. You two are old enough now. You should move in together. Record scratch. Linda, who's been holding a glass of water this whole time, shakes so violently that water spills everywhere. Her face turns the color of a perfectly ripe guava. This is not how she expected this conversation to go. But the mother isn't done. Oh no, she's just getting started. She presses forward with even more enthusiasm. I've been so worried about Linda living all alone out here. Now that you're back, I can finally have some peace of mind. Linda's just standing there, staring at the floor like it's the most fascinating thing she's ever seen, absolutely terrified to lift her eyes. Her heart is pounding so loudly, she swears it's the only sound in the entire universe right now. Quang tries to pump the brakes a little. He scratches his head, lets out this awkward laugh that we've all done when we're uncomfortable. Let's take it slow, Mom. My work situation isn't even stable yet. But his mother? She's not having any of it. She turns to face him directly, and her tone shifts to something much firmer, more serious. A man takes care of his woman. That's what men do. She looks him straight in the eye. I'm entrusting Linda to you. Do you understand what that means? The little porch suddenly feels like it's 1,000 degrees, even though the evening is cooling down outside. The air is thick with expectation and embarrassment and hope all mixed together. Linda steals the quickest glance at Quang, just a fraction of a second. And there's this beautiful mixture of shyness and hope in her expression. Her cheeks are still burning that deep scarlet color. Now let's talk about what's happening to Linda internally, because this is important. She's sitting there completely frozen. Her fingers clench so tightly around her shirt hem that her knuckles are probably white. Her face feels like it's been scorched by the noon sun. Every single time, Quang's mother says words like grandchild, live together, or husband and wife, it's like a hammer blow directly to Linda's heart. Boom, boom, boom. She keeps her head down, lips pressed together so tight they're almost disappearing. And occasionally, she wipes cold sweat from her forehead, even though she's not actually hot. It's pure nervousness. Quang's not doing much better, to be honest. He's standing there equally awkward, scratching his head again, forcing out these embarrassed laughs that sound more like nervous hiccups. His mother, meanwhile, is absolutely on fire with excitement. She gives him this enthusiastic slap on the shoulder that probably stings a little. You're staying here tonight. Help Linda clean up and cook something nice together. I need to get home and take care of Grandma. Linda genuinely wishes the ground would just open up and swallow her whole right now. Can you imagine? The mother is laughing so heartily, so genuinely happy as she picks up what's left of the fruit bag. She walks toward the gate with this spring in her step, and then, just when you think she's done, she turns back around and delivers one final bombshell that nearly makes Linda faint on the spot. Don't forget, I'm waiting for good news from you two. The sound of her slippers fades away down that red dirt path, and suddenly, it's just Quang and Linda, alone, in this little house. The silence that follows is so incredibly thick, you could cut it with a knife. They can literally hear their own heartbeats. Linda still doesn't dare lift her face. Her voice comes out as barely a whisper. Would you like some water? Quang nods, but here's the thing. Their eyes are actively dodging each other. It's like they're two magnets with the same polarity, constantly repelling. The air is still absolutely scorching from all the verbal grenades his mother just casually tossed into the room before leaving. Let me paint you the full picture of what's happening here. This isn't just awkwardness for the sake of being awkward. There's context, there's history, there's genuine emotion. Linda has been living alone in this modest house, working hard every single day, tending to her garden, keeping everything spotless. She's built this life for herself, but there's always been this Linda-shaped loneliness, this Quang-sized hole in her daily routine. And Quang, he's been away working, grinding, trying to make something of himself. But here's what makes this so powerful. He didn't just quit his job randomly. He quit specifically to come back here, to be near her, to build something real, something tangible. A farm isn't just a career move. It's a statement of intent. It's him saying, this is where I want to put down roots. This is where I want to build my future. And by extension, that future includes Linda, whether they've explicitly said it out loud or not. The mother's enthusiasm isn't just overbearing family pressure, though it absolutely is that too, let's be real. But it's also coming from a place of genuine love and concern. She sees what everyone else sees. Two people who care deeply about each other, dancing around feelings they haven't fully acknowledged. She sees Linda's diligence, her kindness, her capability. She sees her son's gentleness, his determination, his decision to return. And in her mind, the math is simple. These two belong together. But here's where it gets complicated, and this is what makes the story so compelling. Just because something makes sense doesn't mean it's easy. Just because two people might be perfect for each other doesn't mean they automatically know how to navigate those feelings. Linda and Quang are caught in this beautiful, terrifying moment where the unspoken is suddenly being shouted from the rooftops by Quang's mother. Think about Linda's position right now. She's been harboring these feelings, probably for a long time. She's been waiting, hoping, tending her garden and her life, while wondering if Quang would ever see her the way she sees him. And now suddenly, his mother is essentially giving them her blessing. No, more than that. She's practically planning their wedding and counting grandchildren before they've even had a proper conversation about their feelings. And Quang, the poor guy probably had a plan. Maybe he was going to ease into this, come back, get settled, help Linda out, let things develop naturally. But his mother just took a wrecking ball to that carefully constructed plan. Now everything's out in the open, raw and exposed, and he's standing there trying to figure out how to navigate this minefield of emotions and expectations. The water Linda offered him sits there, probably getting warm now. The house that felt so comfortable just an hour ago now feels charged with electricity. Every breath feels significant. Every glance, or deliberate lack of glance, means something. This is the moment where everything changes. Not because of a dramatic confession, or a passionate kiss, or any of those movie moments, but because sometimes life forces your hand. Sometimes the people around you see what you're too scared to acknowledge. Sometimes a mother's well-meaning meddling actually pushes two people toward a truth they've been circling for years. The red dirt road outside is quiet now. The red-whiskered bulbul has stopped singing. Even the palm leaf fan seems to have paused its whispering. The whole world is holding its breath, waiting to see what happens next in this small house where two hearts are beating way too fast, and two people are trying desperately to figure out how to look at each other again. Because here's the beautiful, terrifying truth that's hanging in the air between them. Quang's mother isn't wrong. They both know she isn't wrong. And now that it's been said out loud, now that the possibility has been named and claimed and practically demanded, there's no going back to the comfortable ambiguity of before. The question isn't whether they have feelings for each other anymore. The question is what they're going to do about it.